Not the best.
How y'all doing? I'm Paul Ryan, your host of the Across the Cowboys podcast. If you're new to the
Oh
show, thank you for
Lord.
joining us. And to our regular listeners, welcome back. With me, as always, is my co-host, the greatest co-host in the world, Mike the Pig Crum. Mike, how are you?
Good, man. I'm ready to talk. Get back to the old school format. We all know I love every guest. It's a nice breakup, and I like the way people think and everything. But getting back to it's training camp now, and we're first day of pads was today, and it was really busy at work. I had a catering order, and it was busy, so it made the day go by faster. So now I can do this. I have tomorrow off. I got a bunch of money coming in, so it's all in all. I can't be more happy right now.
Hey, when that money comes in, that's always a good feeling, Mike.
All in the week too. It's not spread out, so you get it all in this week
Yeah,
from all the different sources that I'm getting it from, and then you just kind of pay everything off, set a bunch of money aside for my trip, and I'm ready to roll.
that Cowboys wires deposit's finally going to hit, huh?
Oh yeah, big time. All thanks to all the readers. Appreciate it, and a really good editor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, Mike, let the people know where they can find you on Twitter, sir.
At CD Piglet, guys, nice and easy.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. Well, Mike, here we are, man. It's just the two of us. It's been a while. We were talking a little bit about that earlier pre-roll.
We saw Jordan was in. Jordan was in here at pre-roll. He was ready.
Yeah. It's I can't thank the guests enough for coming on, man. We had some great guests this year.
Man, it was good. A lot of good beef. Jordan was unique too because his perspective wasn't so, early season, everything's roses.
Right, right. That's true. That was a nice perspective. It was definitely, I mean, after going from Marco, who was very confident about the Cowboys, to go from Jordan, it was nice to see two Cowboys fans having differing views but still rooting for success, you know?
Yeah, it was. It was nice. It was a fun Cowboys beef year. It was nice.
Yeah, it really was. I thought all the series, we didn't get to do as many building the Cowboys as I'd liked, but I thought the Cowboys crystal ball, those guests were great, and then Cowboys beef. I mean, we had 3 first timers on Cowboys beef, so that's always cool.
Yeah, that's great, dude. Give him a platform. I love that. And man, Brandin, our guy, just so smooth for his age. God, he made it look
Yeah,
like really easy. And you felt proud after that. Like, dude, I hope somebody sees this and is like, let's get him going. You could tell he's got something.
absolutely. Yeah, we'll be hearing a little bit more about Brendan, later on. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. Mike Brendan was awesome, and he's got a bright future ahead. If this was, he decides this is what he wants to do.
Yep, agreed.
Well, guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. Mike, I was again pre-roll. I was talking to you about this episode. It's not obviously a series or anything, but I remember the first time we were going to be talking training camp, and it was 2021 when the Cowboys were going to be on Hard Knocks. And I remember thinking, man, how can we talk about training camp where nothing's really happened, and how can we put our own spin on it and everything? And I remember I sent you the show sheet, and you responded. You're like, "Man, I'm really excited. This is cool." And I was like, you had never really said that before. And I was like, I remember asking him, like, "What is it you're excited about?" And you're like, "Well, we get to put our own spin on it. Like, we get to be creative with it. That's really cool." And I was looking back, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Man, we get to come up with our own training camp storylines." But I believe also this was the birth of Mike's Views from the Sidelines, one word, and one of my personal favorite segments, top 5, dude.
Yeah, dude, it's cool because we're almost all Cowboys. We talk a lot of Cowboys, and we try to give the info we can, but it's nice that we get to add our little flavor with the top 5. It's like, I really like this top 5 because it kind of you were able to go everywhere with it. So like I was bringing things in from all over the place, all drug and sex related. No, it's not. That's for Paul.
Serial related.
Serial killer related, yes.
But yeah, I mean, like you said, it's. Man, I think we're having some technical difficulties here. Hopefully that'll rectify itself. But yeah, Mike, like you were saying, we get to put our own little personal flair and got to show a little bit more of ourselves. This was the episode that really started that off.
Yeah, I know, and it's training camp. So like for the podcast too, like I'm really happy for the Locked On Cowboys and the A to Z Sports and all the ones that love of the Cowboys with Bobby Belt and Brian Broaddus, all the ones that stayed on every week. Locked On Cowboys did it every day still. With like, you basically had to make up content, ask Twitter questions.
I don't know if you can.
Are you having trouble hearing me? Paul?
I'm going to restart my computer and we'll get back in the studio here in a minute.
Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
Sorry to the audience too.
So I wonder if that leaves me on live because it says live, it's still going. So I'll keep talking to you in case we're still on. Jordan, you could let me know. But basically, I like it because like NFL, like you waited so long to get into real football, and like this is the show that starts off like we were talking about the first padded practices today. So like everybody's gonna overreact to Mozzie getting pushed back by Tyron on a block. And I even put something on Twitter going, hey, man, it's going to be a year, and everybody thought I was overreacting to that play. I'm like, I don't care about that play. I've been saying that forever. Defensive tackles, they don't know NFL strength, So I know we're going to have a top 5. We're going to have a one word. Oh, look at me all by myself. We're going to have a top 5. We're going to have a one word. We're going to start with training camp storylines. And we're kind of going through, each of us are picking 3 storylines. And I'll tell you guys right now that if you know me, if you've been following the show, you know my first storyline already. Like it's going to be about injuries. That's my whole thing. Like my main thing of camp is avoid injuries. We've seen Donovan Wilson go down with a calf strain. He'll probably be out for most of training camp. We've already seen Sam Williams. He's got a strain now. So we don't know how long he's going to be out. That could be anywhere from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, depending on how bad the strain is. So I'm on my first storyline for training camp, Paul, and it was like it always is, injuries. I just want to get through training camp healthy. That's always my number one storyline. And so we're down a couple guys on defense right now, but it's nothing that seems to be serious or threatening towards the season. But let's just get through this training camp. Like, I already want to bubble wrap everybody. I know we have to get ready. We've been pretty bad the first week of the season because we don't prepare ourselves with preseason and everything. But, man, it's terrifying to see people go down. Like, we have a really good team, and if we could just stay healthy, we could be a contender.
And, for the most part, I mean, knock on wood, of course, but I feel like under McCarthy, we've been healthy-ish. Maybe we just haven't noticed it that much because of how good of a coach he's been and how good that coaching staff has handled it, when we lose key players. But, yeah, I mean, that's a good one, Mike, to stay healthy because we've seen this team without Dak in 2020, how that went. But, of course, we also got a taste of it last year in 2022, with Cooper Rush. But, man, I can't imagine Cooper Rush playing more than 5 games. They
have hit. McCarthy's been hit pretty bad with injuries with this quarterback going down twice, his O-line. He's had cornerbacks, like 2-3 cornerbacks out. So I'm hoping to have Eagles had a really nice year injury-wise last year. Like they lost a couple guys for a couple of games, but nothing. Burrow and Ramsey's gone. Burrow seems like he'll be all right by the time of the season, but Ramsey's gone till December. Yeah. And it's just that is always my first storyline of everyone that we've done this always injuries. Just stay healthy.
Yeah, that's a good one, Mike. You started with number one. I guess I'll go ahead and do the same. Storyline I want to see is, although Zach Martin is out, the offensive line has looked good.
That's funny.
I haven't heard much about the offensive line.
No, they've the depth has struggled, but I mean, I watched Tyron get annihilated by Micah Parsons today. Like, our defensive line is going to beat up on Eagles' offensive line. Eagles' offensive line is elite. Like, it's just how it is.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's going to struggle with them. So it'll get our team set up to where no matter who they face, it's like, okay, we've had to deal with that and more. So I like that. And as far as my second story is basically the same thing, backup O-line. With Martin and Steele and out and Tyron limited and stuff, who's going to be the guys rotating where, and who steps up and plays well out of all these young linemen. So we're on the same page there.
Yes, sir. All right, moving on to my second storyline, because I was, obviously offensive line was number two for you. Mine is the offense has looked more explosive than in years past, Mike.
Oh, Brandin Cooks. I mean, that's the guy. Brandin Cooks just adding speed, and Turpin's making some plays. So, adding guys like that, you already have your CeeDee Lamb. If Gallup's back, you know what you got in him. So you got a bona fide wide receiver 1, and you've got a top shelf wide receiver 3 if Gallup's back. So now you're talking about just adding things in. Cook, wide receiver 2, his speed and playmaking ability. Turpin and Tolbert coming in and making plays. Ferguson as a pass-catching tight end, like Pollard out of the backfield.
Pollard as a pass catcher
out of the backfield. Man, it's exciting, and I'm excited to see what they do with running backs in the passing game, because that's one thing that Kellen Moore just hasn't been a big thing. He hasn't used it. So I'm excited to see what McCarthy and Schottenheimer do, because both of them have always used running backs in the passing game a lot.
Yeah, definitely, Mike. Okay, so what's number 3? What's your number 3 storyline for the offense, Mike?
My storyline number 3 is, and we just got into it right now, wide receiver 4 through 6. Turpin, Fihoko, Cropper, that battle. And we know the top 3. I mean, just money-wise, we know who the top 3 are. I believe Turpin will be on the team because he's a kick returner, but I don't know if he's wide receiver 4. I don't know if Tolbert or in this new more West Coast offense, the bigger, faster Fihoko is going to be the guy that steps up. But that battle 4 through 6, I don't know how many they keep, but like Cropper's making a ton of plays too. And it's nice to have that depth. I expect that during this season, you'll see Tolbert, Fihoko, Turpin, and Cropper all get snaps with the first team offense, depending on letting guys rest. A guy gets a calf strain for a couple of weeks, or something like that, pulls a muscle or something and needs a few weeks off. I expect all of them to get in the mix and get call-ups, the ones that don't make it, that get to practice squad, to get call-ups a few times this year too.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot, because that 4 through 6 battle will be interesting, because you look at those guys back there, they all offer something different, and all things that, this offense could really benefit from. Yeah.
They put together a nice group of guys behind their bottom 3, and it's just about will they use them?
Yeah, exactly. All right, my number 3 on my list,
Jordan. It's not a waste of a spot if the returners, and we'll see if he is.
Yeah, hopefully, man. I think it's only a matter of time before Turpin breaks one loose, man.
He's gonna score more than one this year.
Yes, sir. All right, my number 3 storyline for the offense that I'd like to see here, whatever you'd like to say. Dak has been more vocal with his teammates. And what I mean by that is, you always hear the stories about Tom Brady just cussing, being pissed off at his players at practice, just in practice, kind of beating in their ear, wanting to be, executing perfection, just being on top of guys, expecting more from them. And I'd like to hear Dak doing a little bit more of that.
He went after Fergie. Fergie ran around wrong route, and he was on his ass. I 100% agree. You can't always be the nice guy. Got to rip into somebody every once in a while.
Agreed. All right, Mike, moving on to the defense. What's your do you want to start with number 3 or you want to start with number 1 again?
Are we doing 3 for offense and 3 for defense?
Yeah, was that confusing?
No. Injuries obviously again would be my number 1. That works both ways. Okay. So I can have that as my first one. I know the other 2, but I'll stick with injuries because I don't mind doing it twice because it's that important. Injuries is the main thing for me. Everything else is way, way, way behind staying healthy.
Okay. All right, my number 1 storyline I'd like to hear out of camp for the defense, Mike. The linebackers have been the best unit in camp. How awesome would that be?
Oh, man. If that happened in camp and bled into the season, this would be a all-time great deep. This would be all-time Bears, defense. Legion of Boom, Ravens. That defense would be an all-timer if the linebackers were the best unit. That's terrifying.
Dude, remember how heading into the 2020 season when we were doing talking about roster cuts and things like that, at one point the linebacker group you thought was the best on the defense, man. Do you remember that?
Yes, that was, man. We didn't have Micah then. We didn't have
so long ago, dude. Exactly.
We basically only had Tank, and our corners were what? Did we even have Byron Jones at that? Yeah, I think we had Byron another. Did we?
No, we didn't have Byron. No.
Bad.
We had
yeah, you're talking about man,
I don't remember who our corners were.
Cheeto
and Jordan Lewis.
Jordan Lewis and Tank.
Jordan Lewis. Man. How crazy
please
is that,
don't bring
dude?
up that 2020 defense ever again. So bad. I don't even want to think about that. Awful.
So crazy what can happen in 3 years, man, with just the simple coaching changes, man. Of course, we added some really good players, but just the defensive coordinator, really, man.
Yeah, that Dan Quinn's been incredible at putting people in the right spot. And I think that kind of leans into my second storyline, and that would be Mozzie. Temper expectation. I said it all last year with Jordan Davis. I said it before the draft when Philly drafted him. I try to say it's going to take a year. People think that they're going to walk in and be great. Jalen Carter.
Yeah.
We got a guy that'll replace Hargrave. No, you don't. Not as a rookie. They don't know what it takes to play NFL caliber strength for 17 weeks. Even in college, they play 11 games, 12 games, but 5 of those games are against guys that aren't in their league, that they could push around. They could get a rest on or build up their stats. And that's the great thing about bringing back Hankins is we didn't lose anything. We got guys. We just added Mozzie to go, hey, you're going to go in here. We're hoping you flash a few times, try to build up your consistency. And then in a year, when you get an off season to build, you're used to the NFL strength, then maybe you can replace Hankins. But they kept a great one technique, one of the best in football, and they did it and then added the young guy to build onto that. So I just want people that think he's going to be a 6 sack and just stuff every double team and dominate, lower expectations. These kids need a year. That position's hard. They don't get NFL strength yet.
Well, Mike, you say on a lot, and no doubt everything you've said is true. So I feel a little bit silly with my number 2, but my number 2 is for the defense storyline I'd like to hear. When Mozzie is in, the offense can't run the ball.
It's not that it's not possible, but let's have it if Mozzie and
no, I'm not saying that at all. Yeah.
Put Mozzie at 3
fair.
technique versus good run teams. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I wanted to hear, your first round pick, you always want to hear good reports. So, that was something I wanted to hear, that, not that he's always getting the DAC or not that he's tearing up the offensive line, but it's like when the offense tries to run the ball when he's in there, it's really hard.
I expect that to happen, to him to be very good at that, and I expect him to be a pretty good pass rusher too. I just expect him to do it better in year 2 and year 3. Which, I mean, look at Osa.
Of course, yeah.
The jump he made from year 1 to year 2 was mind-blowing. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I have it in my notes. I'm doing an article.
Absolutely.
That's consistent of that right now.
Okay, we'll look forward to that. All right, Mike, what's number 3 storyline on for the defense?
My third storyline, I think is, man, it's tough. I did a D-line one, so let's go a defensive backs one. Okay, so we know the main 3 guys: Bland, Gilmore, and Diggs, newly paid Diggs. My storyline will be who pushes beyond that. I heard Kelvin Joseph, in the absence of Izzy, has been playing that corner safety up on the tight ends type linebacker role. How's he doing that? How's Eric Scott on the outside? How does Bland work if he goes from inside to outside, and who goes inside in that situation? Do we have another slot guy? So just that depth with Donovan Wilson and Izzy now out, who steps up to be the depth behind the guys that we know are going to be the guys that get most of the snaps?
Man, hearing them give Joseph that responsibility of playing safety, playing a versatile position, that's intriguing.
They're trying to find a spot for him because they know Eric Scott is going to be hard to keep if you cut him. You obviously you can't cut the top 3 guys. Do you want to keep Jordan Lewis? He's on the pup. You kind of want that veteran once he's up and ready to go. I mean, he can play pretty much all 3 spots. He knows the defense. He's been there. He could teach. Like, you don't want to cut him, and it's 1 more year, like $4 million. So they're trying to move him around so he finds a spot.
Giving him every chance to win a position or win a spot on the team.
Exactly.
Well, factoring in draft capital and just not ever rooting for anybody to fail, I hope he can win a spot, man. I really do.
Me too. He's a good special teams player, but if he can be a defender, like if he can help on defense, now he becomes an excellent second-round pick. Where if he's just a special teams player, you're like, could have got that in the 5th, 6th round.
Yeah, very true. All right, Mike, I don't know if we're on the same wavelength or not, but my number 3 storyline for the defense I'd like to hear coming out of camp. The secondary is as deep as it's ever been.
Yeah, boy, you got that one. They got Tyler Coyle and God, I'm gonna forget this kid's name. Not Bell and not Coyle, but there's another safety that I was just watching stuff on from training camp, and he's a bigger bodied guy. And I'm forgetting his name, but the team really likes him, and he's in there playing well, and that's the guys that are like, okay, those are guaranteed practice squad when all of our guys are healthy, and they're up there and playing well for Dan Quinn. So the DBs are disgustingly deep, like it's gross.
I like to hear that, man. I really do. Okay, so let's move along here. Let's go back to the offense, Mike. Who on offense do you want to see have a good camp?
Well, let's go.
Okay, let me preface it by saying Well, yeah, I was going to say when I sent the show sheet, I added that we can't pick Dak Tyler, CeeDee Lamb, or Michael Gallup. So, excuse me for cutting
My
you off, Mike.
Mine would have been, well, let's go regardless, because I want him to be the sixth O lineman. I want him to be that guy.
Yeah,
If Tyron has to miss a game or gets hurt during a game, just throw him at left tackle and play well enough to where we don't have to shift our line around. If they're set on playing Tyler at left tackle, then hopefully Willetsko can get it at left guard. I love his length and his size. I think he looked good even with one arm last year, and I expect him to be a really good offensive lineman. So that's the guy I want to have a great camp.
I like that one, man. For me, I went with your guy, Mike, and I went with Tyler Biotish. The reason being is, last year he was invited to the Pro Bowl. Say what you will about that, but he was invited. We've seen Biotish continue to develop and improve his game every season since he's been in the league, but yet I still don't think we've seen his best. If he is Travis Frederick Light, then our offensive line could return to its dominant ways, Mike.
Oh yeah, if the center could be great and help that left guard, can't ask for anything more, because the right side, if healthy, is going to be good. Tyron and Tyler should be good if they're healthy. What's up, Matthew?
This is my guy Prescott. He's the Kobe fan I'm always talking about.
Oh, nice. Kobe.
Dude, I've known this guy since I was in 7th grade. This is my guy.
That's awesome. I don't know how he put up with you that long.
Hey, you and me both, sir. All right, same question, Michael, for the defense. Who on defense do we want to see have a good camp? And again, I'll preface it by saying we cannot pick Sam Williams, Damone Clark, Deron Bland, or, of course, the obvious Michael Parsons.
Yeah, I think Damone Clark would have been the pick if he was available.
Exactly,
but in the same vein that you thought about Tyler Biotish, you're like, well, he's probably the weak link if everyone's healthy. If he's great, then, well, that's Osa for me. I have no doubt what Hankins is going to be. I have no doubt what Tank's going to be. And I have no doubt what Mike is going to be. If Osa is a great 3 technique, it's over with. You might as well forget it. This defensive line will be unblockable. And so I want Osa to be the guy on defense.
Oh, man, I like it. For me, Mike, I went a different direction here. I'm going with Mr. Jabril Cox. He'd be a perfect complement to LVE and Damone Clark. And if he can display his skills in camp and be consistent, he could add depth and versatility to a unit that our defense really needs the most now.
Well, imagine Donovan Wilson, has to miss a week or two. Maybe the thing's worse. And Curse kind of moves out to the Donovan Wilson role, let's just say. Jabril Cox, if he's balling, could come in and play that Curse hybrid linebacker, only he'd be an actual linebacker. Him and Overshone have that kind of ability if they're playing up to what they're capable. So, yeah, I love that one. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I really would like to see. I know I know it's the first week. I heard some good reports about him, and hopefully he can be consistent.
He's been excellent. A couple of red zone stop before training camp started, and he had a couple of plays in coverage in training camp as well. So, and that's what he's there for. His main skill was coverage linebacker. So, if he could do that, he could find his way on the field.
Yes, sir. All right, who on defense needs to have a good camp? Not who do you want to see, but who needs to have a good camp?
It's got to be Neville Gallimore, right? I mean, where's he fit? Where's he fit? Honestly, I mean that's an easy one. We have so many good defensive tackles or young defensive tackles, and he's going on his last year, and it's like, why risk Fihoko or Golston to a cut if you could just cut him and go, all right, well, he's got 1 year left. If he goes somewhere and balls out, you got to pay him anyway. So, I'm right. He's got to be great to make this team.
Yeah, same for me, Mike. I wrote down Neville Gallimore. And, we've seen what he can do when he's healthy. In 2021, after returning from injury, he made an immediate impact. However, playing on a loaded defensive line only to be forgotten and discussed as a cut candidate in 2022, his ability to stop the run and rush the passer is what we need from our DTs. And I know he's better. He's a better player than what we saw in 2022. But like you said, man, I mean, he's on his last leg. Where if he doesn't have a good camp, I'd much rather cut him than a guy like Fuhuku or I forget what the other person, Chauncey Golston.
I agree 100%. That one's an easy one.
Yeah. Okay, switching to the offense. Who on offense needs to have a good camp?
I'm going with Gallup. I look at this offense, and if I want this offense to be a top offense of the league, where it's not just, all right, we win by our defense and our offense isn't great, but they do enough to win. But if we want to be able to win with our offense on a day that the defense just doesn't have it, we need Gallup to be a top 5 wide receiver 3. And you got Tyler Boyd, you got Jackson Smith and Jigba, you got who after that? Wide receiver 3s is not a lot. So he needs to be that guy that jumps out. He needs to be somewhere near 2019 Gallup. And if he does that, his position is secure either way. But if he does that, our offense is going to be really tough.
Yeah, I like that one. That's an interesting pick. For me, Mike, I'm sticking with receiver here. I went with Simi Fehoko. We've been waiting on Simi to show us something, and whether it's injuries or something else, we're still waiting to see it. Simi already has a drop ball that led to an interception in camp, but with Moreno Cropper, Jalen Tolbert, and Kavontae Turpin making noise at camp, Fehoko could be fighting for a roster spot, sir.
I think he is. I think right now, if you made me take one of those guys out, I'd probably say, all right, Simi, we're going to, if somebody picks you up, somebody picks you up. We got to live with it.
Yeah. I mean, we just haven't seen anything enough to warn him really. I mean, competing for a bench spot, yeah, but definitely not, I don't know, having that much of a meaningful role.
He's got speed. He's got size. He's had some good camps, but he's never been able to put it together to look like a wide receiver you want to play on NFL Sundays.
Exactly. Okay, Mikey, looking at this Cowboys squad, man, we've got good players, but is there a player who, we'll call him a fraud, but when I say fraud, that maybe benefited from injury or volume or scheme that you need to see more from?
My fraud guy is Josh Ball, and I think a lot of it is he got to play due to injury, and he just hasn't been that good, but he got time on the field, and then they said, they're going to try to move him to guard. They really want to find a spot for him. They don't want to give up on the pick, but I just feel like he's a fraud that he only really got time because we were decimated by injury. And I just don't see him, being a guy that's going to make this team.
I hear you. Mike, you might be surprised by my guy, and it's nothing against this player, but for me, I'm going with Cooper Rush, and I'm thankful to have Rush have a backup like Rush, and if not Rush, not for Rush, last year could have gone a totally different direction after Dak got injured. That being said, I don't view Rush as a premier backup or someone who could play a full season if need be. I'm not trying to take anything away from Rush, but when you look at the teams he played and when, Dallas was fortunate to have Dak get injured when he did. Not to mention the defense playing lights out against those same teams. In the 5 games he played, he only threw 5 touchdowns. I'd like to see a little bit more from Rush. We signed him to another deal, but let's just say in the next draft, I wouldn't want the Cowboys to say, "Oh, we've got Rush, we don't need to bring in another guy." If there's somebody to think that could be better, I'd like for them to pursue it.
I agree. I think if you took Cooper Rush and Will Grier off these teams and put them on another team, I think Will Grier beats him out. But Cooper Rush has won a lot of games for us. He just doesn't do it flashy. Yeah. He's like, he basically says, I'm going to try not to lose the game for you and go from there. So, yeah, I'm with you. That definitely people that think he could start and he was 4-1. No.
Yeah, because I mean, you look at some of the quarterbacks that still have jobs, like an Andy Dalton, the Davis Mills, and stuff. I don't recall ever hearing anybody pursuing Cooper Rush for a starting position in the offseason.
No, and I thought he might get one. I thought he might get a little 10 to 15 mil payday to be a vet stop to a rookie or go somewhere like that and maybe get us a top pick. But everybody saw this was – they're not stupid. The defense carried those teams.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Mike, which player on the Cowboys is being overlooked right now?
Jonathan Hankins. For what we talked about storyline-wise, Mozzie Smith is probably going to need a year to be consistently good. He'll flash. He'll make some plays. He'll be bad some games. Hankins is a top 5 one technique in this league. He has been for a real long time. He's just hard to move. And so when you get in there against the Niners and the Eagles and those teams with the bigger bully offensive lines, Hankins is going to be so key. Like, I see him playing a lot of Mozzie with Hankins, where they're really two big, beefy run stoppers. But, everybody's on the Mozzie train because he was a first-round pick, but he was really a late first-round pick. It's not a top 10 guy. Jordan Davis barely played last year for the same reason. It's just hard. So, Hankins is being overlooked. That was a key re-signing by Dallas.
I like that one, Mike. I'm not sure if this player qualifies for being overlooked, but I added him there anyway. I'm going with Kevontae Turpin. We've heard all the reports about it. Turpin has been added another wrinkle to this offense, and even CeeDee Lamb was saying that the coaches need to find a way to get this, get the ball in his hands more. Man, just that again, speed. If we can find a way to get Turpin more opportunities, man, this offense could really, really be fun.
Yeah, I would love to set something up with him, and he's not just running gadget plays. He's done some. He's made our defense look silly a couple times in training camp, but it's not just gadget plays. Like he needs to go out and be a slot receiver 5 to 7 times, and just let him be a threat out there. You put Cooks on the outside, and then Lamb and him on one side, and you drive defensive coordinators insane. You just do. Because what are you going to do? You're not going to shade Cooks' side over there? Okay, well, if you put the safety off that way, now what are you going to do with 2 burners, and 2 guys that can play slot or beat you deep? So, yeah, I like the idea of him getting 5 to 7 plays, get him snaps a game at wide receiver.
If you could find a way to put Lamb, Cooks, Turpin, and Deuce Vaughn on the field just to make the defense be like, what the hell are these guys doing? Waste a timeout or make them guess. I mean, you could just have, give yourself so many advantages.
The fake handoff to Turpin, fake wide receiver screen outside the Lamb, then back to a screen to Deuce Vaughn. Nasty. That could be a nasty play. You're welcome, Brian Schottenheimer, Mike McCarthy. Do it.
Yes, sir. All right, Mike. This is an interesting season for Mike McCarthy. How important is this camp for Mike, do you think?
I don't think the camp's very important. He won 12 games the year before. He won 13 last year with the playoff game, won the first road playoff game. He just kind of has to get in rhythm of being the play caller, get in rhythm with Dak Prescott. But it's going to honestly come down to what happens in the playoffs. So, as long as he makes the playoffs, is competitive for the division in the 1 seed, and then, it'll come down basically to how they look in the playoffs, honestly, for McCarthy.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. This being his first off season without Kellen Moore, Jerry and Steven, they part ways with Kellen and give him a chance to run the offense. I think it's, like you said, camp's not that important, but you look at the moves that have been made throughout the years. I think Jerry and Steven have showed that they have faith in McCarthy. They want him to be the guy. But like you said, it's the playoffs are what matter most.
Yeah, this team honestly is there's no doubt if healthy they should be in the playoffs, and it's going to go from there. That's when everything is going to start to ramp up for this team, for the coaches, for the quarterback, everything. It's going to be all about their playoffs.
Yes, sir. All right, Mike, here we are with your views from the sidelines. Working for Cowboys Wire, the people that you know associated with the Cowboys, I'm curious. Do you have any maybe storylines or news that hasn't maybe hit Twitter or public yet that you can share with us about players in Cowboys camp or anything?
I got two things. One is look for Crosby to be the kicker, the old Green Bay kicker. If the USFL guy craps the bed, I don't think the Vizcaíno is even really in it. He's more of a camp body. It's going to be between the kid from the USFL, and if he can't do it, like Garibay couldn't last year, Crosby will be the maher.
Yeah.
And then the other is that this front office and this team truly believes that it is the most talented team, if healthy, in all of football. Most talent across the board, depth, starting, everything. And a lot of it's going to come down to, can Dak, Tyron, Micah stay healthy?
Wow, that's interesting. Who said that again?
Don't worry about it. Somebody.
Tell me offline. How about that?
Yeah, I will for sure.
All right. This is my guy, Prescott. He wanted to share something, Mike. Man, Jabril Cox, Damone Clark, Eric Scott, DeMarvion Overshown, etc. are all young, somewhat unproven and unknown, unproven quantities who are brimming with talent that have tapped into even just a little bit at all. I agree with you. I couldn't agree more with you, Prescott. You're absolutely right, my friend. Of those players on there, Cox, Damone Clark, Scott, and Overshown, who are you most excited to see this season?
Damone Clark. I've said from the beginning, and Kyle Yeomans tweeted it yesterday or this morning. He expects Damone Clark to make the Pro Bowl, and I expect Damone Clark to be, people who watch tape and stuff will know that Damone Clark is linebacker 1 by the end of the year, even if he's not the linebacker 1 when people line up with only one linebacker, or if LVE is getting the starts over him, people will know, like, oh no, Damone Clark is the guy on this team.
Okay, I like it. All right, Mike, here we are with one word, our first one word in months. The first week of practice with pads on is blank.
Different. The word is different. It's just, you don't get to really see offensive, defensive lines, corner play. You don't really get any of that until the pads are on and you could really make contact with people. So different is the word.
Yeah, how fast is Brandin Cooks with the pads on? You know what I mean?
Did you see his catch today? He's not just fast. That's what's amazing about him. Every route, you name the route, he knows how to run it. He knows the defense's coverages 90% of the time walking up to the line. He has great hands. He puts up numbers with even if, say, you hate Dak Prescott and you think there's 15 quarterbacks better than him. Brandin Cooks puts up numbers with Davis Mills and stuff. So Dak, even the biggest haters of Dak Prescott know he's a better quarterback than Davis Mills and guys of that ilk. And so, it's just going to be, he's going to be so good this year. Jesus.
Man, I just can't thinking about Lamb, Cooks, and Gallup all lined up, and you're probably your worst corner covering Gallup. I mean, Dak's going to see that. It's already been stated that he's looking for the long ball. It's just making Gallup return to form, dude.
Scary. And the thing is imagine you use Lamb and Cooks to clear out, and now you got Gallup, who's your 50-50 guy that people are going to expect to go deep and play off him, running the crossers underneath. 8 yards. Nobody around him. 8 yards, take it to 12 before your tackle. Like, yeah, this offense is just not the same as last year when Noah Brown and Dennis Houston were battling for wide receiver 2.
My goodness. All right, back to the one word. One word being the first week of practice with pads on is, Mike, I kept it simple, kind of like you did. I said exciting.
Yep. It is. It's why we start the show the way we start the show. First padded practice, first training camp podcast. And there's a reason for it. It
Yes,
is
sir.
exciting. It gets you ready.
Yes, sir. All right, Mike, here we are. We will be talking about top 5 soon, but before I do that, Mike, we have an announcement to make. You know, our
I don't
family's
know
been
what
getting
this
bigger. We've
is,
been
by the
trying to
way.
add stuff. You do know what it is, but you didn't know I was going to announce it tonight.
Okay.
Okay. But, you know, we've tried adding Nick Herrera. Shout out to Nick Herrera. We tried adding him to the team, only to be heartbroken by him. We added LP Cruz successfully, but he broke our hearts as well, and he left the team. You mentioned his name earlier, Mike. This, you know, it's always nice to have some youth. It's always nice to have some new voices. There's a lot of Cowboys fans out there, a lot of people who have a voice and it deserves to be heard. We were very fortunate enough to work with this guy, and he was that good that, you know, when I found out that he wanted to create content, that he was going to do his own pod, I was like, hey, you know, I'm not trying to stop you from making your own pod, but if you're interested, you can come, you know, work with us and still do your own thing if you want. And, you know, we talked a little bit, and he was actually honored to join our pod, Mike. I mean, I think that says a lot too. I feel like our reach might be bigger than what even you or I both know, but I'm excited to announce, man. I'm excited. I'm intrigued. I can't wait to see what this guy can do, because I have a feeling he's going to be great, like you said earlier. But Mr. Brandin Smith will be joining the pod as a part of the Across the Cowboys member, sir.
I'm extremely excited. That you could feel it when we had him on. You could tell he was different. You know, he had that youthful enthusiasm, but he knew what he was doing, and you could tell like his confidence. And even though when he talked to us, he let us know that, yeah, maybe not so much. When he got on the pod and live came on, he was there, and you could feel the electricity. So that's a hell of a get for us. And now we just have to see how long before he tries to break our heart.
Yeah, until he moves on to greener pastures. Am I right, Mike?
Yeah, he's going to go. Nick Herrera, LP Cruz, and Brandin are going to start a show away from the Across the Cowboys pod, is what it's going to be called.
How funny would that be?
I'd be mad. I'd be like, I better be a guest like once a month, man, on this shit. I swear to God.
Yeah. Okay. So, Mike, before we get to top 5, I want to show my boy Prescott some love, because he, you know, he never really, I don't know how often he tunes in live, but he listens to every audio episode. But continuing on with his first comment about Jabril Cox and everybody, he also added, stand to potentially take what's already an elite defensive unit into the upper stratosphere, rarefied air that is home to the all-time greats outside of potentially Damone Clark. We're not necessarily banking on any of their production per se, a bit like found money. I like that. I agree with Damone Clark pick. Leighton has been raving about his incredible growth in such a short period of time. I'm sticking to my guns on the spicy take, and I genuinely have a reasonably high degree of confidence that this will ultimately come to fruition. And then fingers crossed, the Dallas Cowboys will finish this year with 3,000-yard receivers, becoming only the 6th team in NFL history to do so, and the first since the 2008 Arizona Cardinals. Dude, if Matt ever decided to create content, I'd immediately want to add him to the team, because I meant to invite him onto the pod as a Cowboys beef guest, but we kind of, you know, time got away from us. But he's going to definitely be on the show as a guest if he you know, chooses to share his precious time with us.
Yeah, that would.
I think
that would be nice.
You're
trying to get rid of me, sir? You can't have all these people on. I talk 80% of the time, so having more people on, they're just cutting into your 20%.
You're stuck with me until you leave, Mike.
I'm not going anywhere. Well, I mean,
All right, let's get it.
At some point it's going to happen.
Lord. Let's not even discuss that, Mike. That will be a sad day, sir.
All
right, here
top
we are with top
five.
Yes, sir. Top 5 favorite combinations, duos. Just for the audience here, we decided it can be food related, people's, actors related, or anything in between. This was specifically for Mike, though. Please, no sexual or drug references.
Mitchell did one. He had serial killers in there. I was like, I'm not taking any of your advice on any of yours. They're horrible.
All right, Mike, start us off with number 5. What's your favorite combination and or duo?
Okay, so alcohol, people, I do not do heavy drugs. So when I say Jack and Coke, means Jack Daniels and Coca-Cola. Coke Zero for me now because, the sugars. Yeah. But, yeah, Jack and Coke. Some people will listen to that and be like, not me. I don't care how much I rub my nose. I do not do that. My nose just itches.
No nose beers for Mike, ladies and gentlemen. I like that one, though. Jack and Coke, man. That's shout out to my cousin Price, who have you ever had whiskey and root beer?
Oh, yeah. Tell them take
That's
whiskey.
An elite combo, dude.
Whiskey, root beer, a vanilla bean paste, some ice, and a good pinch of kosher salt, and blend it in a blender, and then thank me later.
Oh, wow. Okay, interesting.
Elite.
All right, Mike, number 5 on my list. Yeah, I'll have to remember that. Fried chicken and pickled jalapenos. It has to be pickled because you have to pour the juice on the skin and then take that bite. Man, you talk about a fresh fried chicken out of the fryer, dude, and then that pepper. Such an amazing, amazing combination, dude. I assume you've had it based on you shaking your head.
Of course. And actually the way I do it's a little bit different. I will do grilled chicken and then fry pickled jalapenos and put them on a grilled chicken sandwich. A little bit less breading because, yeah, it's good stuff. Now, if you just want to double fry or just use the pickled jalapenos on the fried, that works too. All are deadly.
Yeah. A shout out to my Nana, though, RP. She's the one who introduced me to the pickled jalapeno and fried chicken. And after I had it that first time, I can't have fried chicken without it.
Pickle some Fresnos and try it like that. It's good.
Yeah, I'll have to do that. I'll have to remember that, Mike. Okay, moving on to number 4 on my list. This is something I haven't had in a long time. But man, it was something I had a lot of, and maybe I took advantage of it while I had it. But the homies and dominoes, and what I mean dominoes is the game dominoes, playing dominoes. But me and my friends sitting around playing dominoes. That's one of my favorite combinations.
Gotcha. Because I was like,
listen to music, drinking beers.
Choices. I was like, Mr. Worst Pizza strikes again. I'm all of all places, Domino's your duo. But yes, Domino's. I wonder what my game would be poker. If I had that on the list, my game would be poker. But yeah, games and your boys doesn't get much better.
Yeah, a lot of beers, rock music. The room was always so cloudy, Mike. I'm not sure why, but the room was always cloudy when we're playing dominoes.
I know why on that one. I don't do the Coke, but that one I do all the time.
Yes, sir.
Constantly. Currently. Anytime I go like this. No, I'm just
every day.
Yeah. It's right here.
All right. What's number 4 on your list, Mike?
Grilled cheese sandwich and tomato soup. I mean, it's easy. You dip it.
Okay.
And I get that at Disneyland all the time at the Jolly Holiday. They have a really good one. I thought about like God, I'm so white. I'm gonna say it so wrong. The birria with the consomme.
Birria.
But I say it's so white, and it's the grilled cheese tomato is more known to everyone. So I went with that. Grilled cheese and tomato soup. Dip it. It's delicious. I love it. Oh, I'm
Hey,
3,
before we
right?
move on to number 3, was this hard? Was it? Yeah, but I was going to ask you, was this one hard for you to like get down to 5?
It was hard for me to pick because if it was like food duos, I have 5. But just straight
Yeah,
duos, I was trying to find a way to make it not all food. So I got one beverage, I got one
yeah.
food, and then we're going to go from there now. One beverage and one food to start it off. And now we're getting into Mando and Grogu.
Number 3.
Yes. Which that's from The Mandalorian.
Oh,
People that don't
okay.
know, Grogu is Baby Yoda. That combo
Mm-hmm.
is elite. It could have went 1. I put a couple others 1 out
Yeah.
of longer term respect. Mando and Grogu are more new.
Yes, sir. Okay, let's see here. Prescott, sirs, you flatter this humble patron of your exquisite content. You guys just name the date and the time, and I'll be sure not to be there or to be there late. Okay, yeah, Matt, for sure. You know, I'll keep in touch, man. You know that. Okay, number 3 on my list, Mike. My dog and long car rides. There's nothing more. Man, my dog loves car rides, so it's always nice on a nice evening right before the sun's about to set. Hop in the car, roll the windows down, put on some music, and I'll just every now and again I'll look over and I'll just see him just having the time of his life, just wind blowing through his thick full beard, no, not a care in the world. It's like you can just see how free he is, man, and that's a good feeling to see that.
It's funny because Mitchell had a list more. I was doing more classic combos, and Mitchell was like,
Yeah.
"Well, Mike and Disneyland," And I was like, "Well, yeah, I
Dude,
know that. But I think it's
yes.
more classic combos for listeners and stuff." But you went more Mitchell's way of like personalizing it, and I like it because there's nothing better than chilling with. We have 6 kittens right now. I mean, like born 4 days ago. So 6 dogs,
Wow.
6 kittens. It's going to be interesting.
Like I told my boy Prescott one time, I said, "Man, I love kittens, but I hate cats."
Yeah, we don't let them in the house and stuff because we have too many dogs. But they'll be cute while they're kittens and everything. And then once they get too old, I'll be like, somebody else take them.
I kind of want a cat. I'm not gonna lie.
I'll ship one to you. I'll box it up, ship it out. I would never do that.
Sounds good, sir. All right, Mike. Here we are, number 2 on my list. Sundays and Cowboys football.
Great one. Another one Mitchell put. Mitchell literally put that one. Sundays and Cowboys football or Cowboys and NFL. That was one of his.
Yes.
It would have been funny. Me and you would have had a real similar list if I would have followed Mitchell's instructions on the combos.
Mitchell's?
It can't get any better than that.
Yeah.
Cowboys Sundays football is what it's all about.
Yes, sir. All right, Mike, what's number 2 on your list?
Number 2 on my list, Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore. Just classic movies.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's the first thing I thought of, honestly, when I thought duos. 50 First Dates, Wedding Singer, my all-time favorite. I love Blended. You put those 2 together, they just make great movies. They're so good together. Yeah, those 2, they definitely could easily be number 1, but I got to keep number 1 more towards my thing. But they make it number 2.
All right, so what's your favorite Drew Barrymore, Adam Sandler film? Is it Wedding Singer?
Wedding Singer, classic, dude. Just it's so brilliant.
So good, dude.
It's John Lovett's little, and I'm reaping all the love stinks. What idiot told this guy to come back already? I don't know, the guy. It's brilliant. Her name's gonna be Julia Gulia. Like it's an all-timer. I love that movie. It's my favorite. But the other 2 are like 10 out of 10 too. It's basically true because Blended's on right now on like the Showtimes, and I watch it almost every time it's on. It's so funny. And so, yeah, I just love their movies. I hope they do another 10.
All right, Mike, tell me if you get this reference from Prescott here, because I don't. Bargs and Maker's Mark, Will Ferrell voice. You guys don't even know. Y'all don't even know. Oh, I guess is that Wedding Crashers?
No, is that where he's talking to his? No, that's from. Is that from Talladega Nights? I don't remember what it's from. We'll have to ask him.
Because I remember, when they and Wedding Crashers, when they go to meet Will Ferrell and he's kicking the air and he's talking about mom's meatloaf and everything. That's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah. Maybe it was from that.
Yeah.
Damn, I need to watch those. I love Will Ferrell too. I'm gonna be mad when I realize what it's, but it might be from that. You might be right.
All right, Mike, here we are, number 1 on your list.
On my list, everybody should know this already. Come on. Mickey and Minnie Mouse. Look at behind me.
Oh, that's a good one, sir.
Look at the shirt.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Hell, look at the shorts. The shorts are Mickey. Look at the socks. The socks are Haunted Mansion. Haunted Mansion. I'm all Disney.
I can't.
That's what I do. Mickey and Minnie has to be one.
Whenever I think about Disneyland or Disney World, my mind immediately goes, "Oh, Mike,
Mr. Disneyland." That's why
I thought you might say me and Disneyland.
I am very jealous, and my friends are there. I think they came home today. They were there this week, but I was paying for the trip in September. I was fronting people to pay for their tickets and some early entry stuff to Universal for a day. And so I just didn't know if I'd have enough money, so I told them I wasn't going to go. Biggest regret, dude. I regret it so much that I did not figure a way to go. I could have figured it out. Damn it. So now we're ready for September 25th. I'll be headed back out there.
Yeah, well, now you'll just have more money for your September trip.
Yes, I got to save some. It's this on by Friday.
Right.
I'll have a bunch saved and I'll be happy.
Yes, sir. All right, Mike, number 1 on my list of my favorite combinations duos, my wife and my son, sir.
Boo! No, I'm just kidding. Of course. If you made me guess the combos, I would have said mine Disneyland and yours the wife and the boy, or I might have said you and your son actually. So that's tough. You threw the wife in there. You're good. You did well. Let them listen to this. They'll like that.
I mean, I can't imagine, not that the wife listens to the pod anyway, but if I was like my son and my dog, or me and my son, or, she wasn't included in any of them, it might have been a long discussion.
You wanna really get shit on? Put them 5th. Yeah, 5th, my wife and my kid.
Oh.
The throwaway one.
Right.
And then you're like, Domino's and my boys.
Fried chicken, baby. Love that more than my wife and the son.
Fried chicken's good.
Here's
fried chicken.
Let's see, Matt here. Sir, you better watch your mouth before I reach through the screen and smack your head with this here Willie Tap 35 piece. How much Domino's have you played, Mike?
It's been a minute. I used to play a lot, but it's been a while. It's been a while since I played poker. It's been a while since I played dominoes. It's been a while since I played chess. Chess. I played chess. Mm-hmm. Been a while since I played chess. So yeah, it's been a minute, man. I haven't. If I do hang out with friends, we're normally having a few drinks and watching the fight or doing karaoke and stuff, and there's typically too many to sit down and too much going on,
I hear you. I have so many good memories just sitting around that round table at our apartment and drinking, chilling, slamming bones, dude. A lot of good laughs, man.
Ours was pool. We had the pool table. And air hockey, but the pool table was like the main one. that people would drink and play pool.
Yes, sir. Well, Mike, man, it was nice. I was thinking, I kept looking at the clock. It's like, man, we're gonna go under an hour again, but of course not. When it's you and I, we tend to elaborate a bit.
So close. We almost got there. I tried cutting myself off a few times to get there, but I'll take it. Hour and 5, hour and 6 by the time we're out. Not bad.
And we didn't even get to do Meatless Monday today.
No, actually, I had a grilled cheese sandwich and some chips.
Oh, there you go.
I was too tired.
Well, man, as always, Michael. Yeah, it's not even after a Cowboys loss, just tired.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Mike, man, it was all right. It was nice that it was just the two of us again, man. It had been a while. I always enjoy our conversations.
It was great, man. It's nice to be back. Football's back soon. We're back to the regular format, and it's time to go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, Mike, before we get you out of here, remind the people they can find you on Twitter.
Letter C, letter D, Piglet. Nice and easy, guys.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.